Hey, my friends, it's Tuesday, which means it's Building Wins Live time. I'm your host, Randy Chafee, and we've got a guest today that I've been looking forward to talking to for quite a while. Coach Phil Gilkes. See, I got his name wrong already. Anyways, he hyphenated it for me yesterday, or phonicized it so I get it right, and I already screwed it up. But anyways, Coach is going to be on in just a second, and we're going to have a great conversation. He's known throughout the world as the Business Renovator. He brings some great insight into how to profit, build your business, build your sales. The guys have become a great friend of mine over the last 15 months or so, and I think you're going to enjoy the conversation. So don't go away. We'll be right back with Coach. So, Coach.
G'day.
Gilkes, Gilkey, Porky.
Porky?
Well, we were just talking about that off air. So.
That's funny. Well, I've actually dropped a few pounds, so I'm less porky.
Well, you look great, buddy. You look great, by the way.
Thank you.
I mean,
the makeup.
Well, of course. I did makeup too, so yeah, right.
I don't have your tan, though.
Well, I work on that hard.
I know. You live in a place where the sun shines.
Yeah, well, you need to. Has the sun ever shine in Calgary, Alberta?
Yes. Yeah. We just have snow, though. We don't have the tropical. We don't have any palm trees.
Well, that's true. Hey, Callanan. Hey, give me a weather report. What's the temperature in Fahrenheit? Because I can't do the conversion.
Oh, my God. I can't do it. Let me tell you. I got to go to my trusty device, though. It's called a phone. And it's telling me, hang on, I got to go to the bottom of the list, convert it to your language. Hang on, I can get there. It'll just be a second. It's 48 degrees.
Gee, that's crazy.
It's only 10 a.m.
Okay, well, it's 12 noon here in Naples, and I'll tell you, I went for a walk early this morning. Not early, like 9:30. It is an actual 90. Feels like 100 right now.
Wow.
It's warm.
Okay.
So Phil, you're in Calgary.
Yep.
Eric Bam, you're my favorites too, buddy. I'm telling you. Anyway, you're in Calgary. So I'm going to tell everybody a couple things, and I want you to maybe give us a little idea who Phil is. But I think an interesting thing to start is that you and I are probably we're in our mastermind group together. That's where we met, Mega Minds, right? That's where we met, maybe 12 to 13, 14 months ago, you and I met, maybe something like that.
Yeah, that sounds pretty darn close, buddy.
That's close. And the interesting thing with this world that we've all been trying to hybrid, trying to develop the old with the new, and how do we put all that together, is it's all been so virtual for a long time. We're now getting back. I mean, I'm so excited. I put a post yesterday with my phone with the all my apps, right? Because I'm so excited to, hey, Brother George, so excited to actually be making flight reservations and hotel reservations and rental cars. You know, it's exciting to get back to some of that old also, right? But I think what's important I wanted to bring up is you and I have become really, really good friends, or at least I think we are. I like you. And we've become brothers, we've become pals, but yet we've never met face to face, right? And I think that's a uniqueness, I guess, to where we've gone in the last 12, 14, 15 months, right? I mean, that just wouldn't have happened 2 years ago, right? It wouldn't have happened. We'd have not known each other 2 years ago.
No, and as much as I hate to say that COVID was a blessing, it was.
Mm-hmm.
Because if it wasn't for COVID, I'd still be doing things the way I would always been doing them, in person, not so much virtual. So one of the things that I work with my clients and also for myself is to work on being adaptable. And
Exactly.
You're one of the best models of adaptability that I've been able to experience in the last dozen months. And like you said, Randy 2.5, you were Randy before, but now you're a hybrid combination of virtual and live in-person stuff. And you've been doing that as best you could throughout the COVID year that we've had. Not that I want to focus on that, but I think it's not what happens to us, but it's how we show up and what we do with what happens to us. You know, Dale Carnegie, in his great wisdom in the book called How to Win Friends and Influence People, he talked about turning the lemons of life throws at us into lemonade. So I've had a whole bunch of different flavors of lemonade and met some wonderful people like you who are doing the same darn thing.
Exactly. Well, that's exactly correct. Because I know you have to watch, because we have to be sensitive to. I mean, COVID was not a good thing. Right?
No, it's not. It's not a good thing.
And wherever you fall on the aisle with it, on which side of the political aisle or the societal aisle, whatever you want to call it, it did cause a lot of damage, and it caused some people to be very sick. It caused people to. Never do I disagree with that. Never would I go back 15 months and go, I hope we have something like COVID, right? Because that'd be a dumb statement.
Hell no.
But with that said, we did not have anything to do with it. We could not control that it happened. What we was able to do is take what was given to us and convert, to adapt, to adopt new procedures, new ways of living, new ways of doing our life. That as we, and that's where I'm smacking. I was telling you earlier that I just mentioned a minute ago, booking flights and those things. I'm smack in that pivot point right now of being very virtual to being much, much more live with people traveling. But what I'll never do is get rid of what I learned. I'll never stop doing shows. I'll never stop guesting on shows. I'll never stop posting and communicating via social media. So did it suck? It happened, yes. But I think many of us have been able to adopt and adapt and pull things out of it to make the best out of a very bad situation, right? Is that a fair statement?
Oh, totally. I'm not saying, I never would like to go back and, or even wish another event like this ever. It's not what I'm saying. It's just one of my mentors many years ago said, when stuff like this shows up, it jars your preserves. And when I ask my clients and friends about that, how do they respond? There's really only two answers. One is that we hunker down, batten down the hatches, and hope like hell we survive it. Well, hope's not a very good strategy. And then the other path is that, it jars your preserves. It wakes you up and say, holy shit, this is freaking terrible. What can we do to make it better? How can we be safe? How can we, whatever those are, whether it's a financial, economical downturn, or as we're living through the pandemic, it's a horrible thing. There's a lot of people that went through some hardships and still going through it. I'm not advocating that at all. It's just, do we wallow in despair, or do we stand up and do something to make the situation better than what it was or is?
Agreed. And you said it better than I would have said it. That's exactly the way I see it. It happened. Thanks, George. Appreciate it, buddy. It happened. So we had to grab it, like you said, and there's only two things we can do. Like you said, hunker down and wait. Wait to go back. I can't wait till we go back to normal. Yeah. What the hell is that? And when is that? And do we even want to do that, right? And I think a lot of us have learned that what I say going back to normal in my mind, I don't even like that terminology, but that's going back to being able to travel freely and to go be with my clients and customer friends and do those things. But with the idea that I'm going to stop doing all, as I mentioned a minute ago, all this stuff that I've learned that's helped me immensely, that would be silly to throw all that away now, right?
Oh, absolutely. So even before COVID, because of what I do in the scope of the reach that I have, I'm fortunate that I have a global reach, and I've had clients in a variety of different time zones and countries. And there had always been a live component of it. I call it fire hose training. So when I'm doing any of the training work that I do around sales or personal development, I like to do that ideally in the live situation, but we can't do that. But there's still a need for what I do. So I leverage technology, but I've always done technology, even pre-COVID, because for people to, and the restrictions and the availability of my time and the economics didn't make sense for me to fly to Toronto or London, England to go and do a live training every time, because it's inefficient. So I have always had a component where I was doing something virtual. I just got better and the tools got better. And there's something I found in one of the platforms that I use just recently that's going to up my deliverables this Thursday when I'm delivering to a group of 32 salespeople spread out over Western Canada. It's going to make
that new plan that you showed me yesterday when we were chatting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, that just changes the dynamics. It makes it more interesting and less virtually boring. And that's one of the things that I've learned about doing things virtually over the time is to adapt and think about the audience experience and how can you make it more interesting and valuable to them. So that's what I've been working on.
That's awesome. So quick question. Well, let's see what Bam, our buddy Bam says. Many large companies are using COVID as an opportunity to stop traveling. What do you think that looks like in the next 90 to 180 days? Coach?
I think it's going to be dependent on the company's philosophy to what they're doing. I know 2 years ago when this first showed its ugly head, there was a finance company out of Phoenix, actually, not a client of mine, but one of my peers, and they were totally against doing anything virtually. And they were in the financial business, selling insurance and investments, and they'd allocated $30 million to build a building, and they were totally against doing anything that was virtual. They felt that the productivity would go down, that people would take advantage of it, and they would not be as successful. Well, they were forced into it, and they did what they needed to do. Well, as a result of that, before the year ended, I think it was within 6 months of going that different space, they're not building the building. They're saving $30 million, and they're going to invest in technology and training for their staff. So that's one of the perks of what came out of this is that people get better training because they found out that the people were working more efficiently and more effectively and getting better results than they were doing it the old normal way. So that's one thought. It really is attitudinal. It depends on the philosophy, I think, in the industry. And I'm not an economist. I can't say, you can't say my last name. I can't say economist.
That's Canadian for economist.
So who knows? I don't have a crystal ball.
Yeah. Well, and to that, what Eric asked, I think I'm seeing that in my industry, Coach, is very very hands-on, very person to person, very bro hugs and a burger and brew in the evening and pizza at lunch type industry. So my need and the expectation, I think, in my industry, in an industry, a buddy of mine, Barry, just popped on a few minutes ago. I know he may still be watching, but he and I were together last week, and he will tell you the same thing. A lot of our customers expect, demand. That's it. Good thing Wes is there. That's why he gets paid the big bucks.
That's right. Save my backside.
Exactly. But I think there's an expectation in my industry, and every industry is different, right? To be more hands-on and to be a little more with people. Do I think it'll be as much travel as it used to be? I'm not sure that it will, and I'm not sure that it has to be. I think that as long as you augment that, and that's part of the hybrid in my kind of hybrid thinking, is you need to be able to take what you need to do, the travel, needing to be there, wanting to be there, but augment that in between times and even during with the things we've learned over the last 15 months, right, of doing virtual things. Because to think about it, if I go on the road, I might, with flights, see 4 or 5 guys in a day, maybe, right? Maybe, if I'm lucky. But with the ability to do virtual and my little $1,500 phone here, I can still chat to thousands of people a day.
Yep.
Right. And so I think that's a big force multiplier that I talk about. But so before we get into the real nuts and bolts of the Business Renovator and that, give me 2-3 minutes or 5 or 12 or 30 seconds of who really is Phil. I know we've established you're from Calgary, Alberta. I assume that, I don't believe that's where your wife's been from. I don't think, maybe I'm wrong. Who is Phil?
Well, I'm actually a Limey originally. I was born in England in a little place called Banbury. It's somewhat famous. There's a poem, ride a cock horse to Banbury Cross to see fine lady on a horse. She have rings on her fingers, bells on her toes. She'll have music wherever she goes. So that's where I'm from. But I haven't lived there for multiple decades. I was brought up in Canada, predominantly in Western Canada. I'm a Canadian citizen and have been for a long time. And I love hockey. I don't love it so much.
Hockey. They play hockey in Canada.
Yeah, and in the U.S., we took it there for you guys, so you guys could learn it. They actually have 2 teams in Florida. Isn't that crazy? I mean, who would have thought? Where they have palm trees, they have ice on. They skate on, but not just in your drinks. And then from there, I basically left high school, got into business, and started out as a delivery guy in a print shop, and realized that's not what I wanted to do. So I did a bunch of things and got really fascinated with how the mind works. And being my own person was really important to me, still is, and helping people get to where they want to get to. I woke up this morning at 5 o'clock, and I got a text message from one of my clients out of Michigan, and he was grateful for some of the things we'd worked on and helped him shift his thinking. He's a brilliant guy, really smart technically with what he does, and brings great value to the community. But just like most of us, we get in our way sometimes. And I got a text message from him today, actually on Facebook, and he thanked me for giving them the idea around seeing the possibilities versus focusing on the angst. So he posted that he's going to be doing his own podcast, and now that he's pushed it out there and promoting it, started promoting it today. He's feeling relieved, excited, and looking forward to. So what I get a big kick out is helping people over the years of my existence in this wonderful world is seeing their aha moments or their breakthrough moments, whether it be coaching girls hockey and winning a lot of games and learning a lot of things, or if it's helping a CEO of a company take their company to another level, or if it's working with an individual veterinarian whose goal was to get 15 of the top horse, get his hands on the top 15 horses in the Western rodeo space, hearing them live those dreams out because of some of the ideas we've shared, that's what cranks me up. So I've done that, I guess, all my life pretty much.
So how did your business, your moniker, your life is revolved around the idea of being the business renovator, right? So what does that really mean? What do you you kind of started into it there and explained it, but let's delve into a little bit more of what Coach Phil does, what you bring to the table. I know you've been involved with Brian Tracy for years. If anybody doesn't know Brian, you better look him up, because 80 plus books, right, on sales and international speaker, and you've been involved with him and doing some of his training. So if and I know you've been bugging me and I've just been busy, but you would like me to be a client, obviously, and chat with what you could help me with. Why would we want to do that?
I would like to explore the possibilities to see if there was a synergy for you and I to work together, where there was a benefit for you financially and psychologically. If there is, awesome. And if there isn't, no harm, no foul. Mm-hmm. I first met Brian Tracy back in the days when I was in the printing business and left that and went into selling cars and things. And I took the Phoenix seminar when he was still Canadian, because now he's been living in San Diego forever. But from there, that was a life-changing sort of thing. And in the Phoenix seminar, it's reinventing yourself and rising from the ashes. That's what the Phoenix is all about. Mm-hmm. So essentially, that's what I get a kick out of doing in terms for the people that I've worked with. I'm one of around 200 franchisees in the Focal Point brand, which is originally powered by Brian Tracy. We use a lot of his content because he's got great content. You were on somebody's show, and I was trying to think of her name while we're talking, and you and 2 other salespeople, and you were the guest on that show. And I had made some kind of comment on it, and she reached out to me, and I apologize, I forget her name.
Christine Harrington.
That's it. Yeah. When she realized
the savvy sales lady, her and Simon White, who's in the UK, by the way.
And so when she realized I was affiliated with Brian Tracy, she reached out to me and told me that Brian Tracy saved the life of a friend of hers and changed her life dramatically. So that's the space I play in, is leveraging a lot of what he has. And then I have other tools and resources and people and things. That sounds like a lyrics to a song. I think it was about 3 decades ago. Anyhow,
back in your youth.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. When was that? A while ago.
Was that pre-landing on the moon or post-landing on the moon?
Pre, I think.
Okay, that goes way back then.
Yeah, somewhere like that. Anyway, it threw me off, but that's okay because I've been thrown off before.
Yeah, that happens.
Yeah, it's like
I host the show and I get thrown off. I throw myself off. So.
Oh, do you throw yourself? Wow. Does it hurt?
Yeah, a little. Only if I hit my head.
Yeah.
But
so you were asking what the Business Renovator. Let me tell you how that all started. I ran into another guy who was looking at joining and becoming part of a coaching company, and he was telling me some of the names he was thinking about doing because he loves building and flipping and building businesses, not flipping himself, but businesses. And he says, I think I'll call it the Business Renovator. And whoa, that's a great name. So I wrote it down. And then when he launched his business and he didn't use that name, I bought the URL in case somebody thought of it and took it. And I liked it so much, I bought the URL. And then I waited until he got set up with what he was doing. And I told him what I'd done and said, listen, if you want it, I will relinquish it and you can have it. I just didn't want it to go away. I didn't want anybody to capture it. And the reason I took it was that's the business I'm in. I'm in the business of helping businesses renovate their businesses from whatever perspective that could be. It could be from a time point of view, money, team, or futures. And future used to be exit strategy, but not everybody wants to exit. Some become so successful and their dream is bigger than the one shop, they actually want to franchise their business. So we have ways to do that. So time, team, money, and futures is really what we're all about. And the Business Renovator is 3 key words that I talk about and have a theme throughout it every time I do one. And I do them Monday, Wednesdays, and Friday mornings. And I generally have a guest that's out of the sales world or from the mindset or marketing. So the theme is sales, marketing, and mindset, or all 3 of them, or one of them. And it doesn't really matter. But that's a common theme that all entrepreneurial-minded people have. There's other things as well. But in my vision of what the Business Renovator is we're not doing construction on buildings or houses, but we're doing construction on developing, refining, polishing, and sharpening axes and saws by utilizing the renovator approach. Okay. That's how that all came about.
Perfect. So you've been doing this under this current model quite a few years now then.
Yeah. So did you want to know in dog years or human years?
Let's do dog years because I can divide by 7.
Okay, so 7 times 14. Yeah, so it's a lot, right? And then, I've owned a few businesses along the way. Print shop, I was a partner in. I sold other people's products and software tools for them. I was kind of like a road warrior like you were, only I wasn't traveling as much and specializing selling a specific niche software in the oil patch for a geological well site company and help them grow from being not even know who they were to being at that time, the preeminent player in that particular segment. Interesting.
So based on what you just talked about and the several times that you can help businesses with, I was just looking at George's thing.
Yeah, I did too. But oh my God, I got to brag.
Yeah, you got to brag. I think you got to brag. I think you got a crushing brag, actually. But so if there's businesses out there, whether they're contractors, most people that would listen live or on replay to this show are going to be the contractors. They're going to be sales guys for contractors. They're going to be metal, building supply houses in some position. Or metal roofing manufacturers. That's the gist of kind of my audience, I guess. What should the first thing they think about if they're thinking about Coach Phil and could I, do I need the services of a guy like Coach Phil?
There's really not one really good answer to that. Is there that we could just say that one response will answer all the questions. There isn't one answer because they're all at different places. Like if you go to time, team, money, and futures, some are long in the tooth and they actually want to retire, flip the bill, sell the business, and get out of it, whether that be to family members or inside partners potential, or they want to turn it into a franchise. Others are earlier on in their career and they're struggling with getting stuff done in a timely fashion. So having time efficiencies and effectiveness strategies and things would be beneficial. And then there's, I want to make more money. There's too much money going out, and I not enough coming in. So how can we sort that out? Or they've got too much money and they want to invest it. Well, I'm not an investment guy, but I could introduce them or help them find those kind of people. So there isn't one cookie cutter answer. So what would have to happen would be if there's somebody who's looking to for some assistance in those 4 categories, time, team, money, and future, then we could kind of have a conversation and explore the possibilities. And one way I start that conversation is we have a tool called the Profit Accelerator. And it's a way to dive in and see what the hidden potential is that they're leaving on the table that they might not even know that's there in their business. And so it's a service we provide. It takes about 90 minutes for the first session and then 30 minutes to do the report. They get a summary report that explains to them some of the ways that they could identify the hidden potentials. So for example, if I was doing my headline, it would be something along the lines of, we help any business find an additional 100K hidden potential in their business in 45 minutes or less. So if that resonates with anybody that's here, whether they're a contractor, distributor, roofing company, any of those, all of those, what I just said ties in to them as well. I've worked with HVAC companies. I've worked with printing companies, which are job costing as well. I've worked with a major wholesale distributor who sells products to the HVAC space and electrical and plumbing. I've worked in the housing industry, in the construction side of it. I have a wealth of knowledge in and around that, but it's really not how much knowledge I have as to what your business is, because you know your business better than anybody else. What a coach does is helps you refine it to get more out of it. For example, if you know anything about hockey, there's this guy by the name of Gretzky, probably the best hockey player, best records, hard to beat anywhere. As a player, he was brilliant. They put him behind the bench of the Phoenix Coyotes. He was terrible, a terrible coach. So not everybody that can run your business and do your business is a really good coach. That's a really good example. So one of the strengths that I bring into my clients is being that partner without an equity position that helps you have a sounding board to ideas, strategies, and systems that help you take your business to another level.
Perfect. And I would imagine if everybody in whatever aspect of the business world we all find ourselves in can, if we're really honest with ourselves, probably say, I could probably use some help in one of those 4 areas.
I have coaches.
Yeah, you have coaches. Coaches have coaches.
I do. Well, I don't know if they all do, but I do.
Do you call them coach? Because you're a coach. So
yeah, I do. I've coached Don.
Okay.
And I got Coach Ben, and I've got a couple of others. I've got Coach Jackie. I'm going to go for a walk with her later. She would coach me in how to coach others to be effective promoting from the stage. So it's the 6-pillar speakers coaching program. She's the CEO of it. And I get to go hang out with her in person, not virtual, walk around the park today. I'm really looking forward to that.
Oh, nice. That'll be fun. That'll be really interesting.
Yeah.
Well, that's, I've always been fascinated by our conversations, whether it's different times. I'm going to share something. You're a cook. I don't know if you're, it looked good.
Oh, yeah, it was good. I think.
I remember going back, about 5-6 months ago, and we were trying to catch up with each other, and we did a FaceTime or a Messenger, something, LinkedIn. I don't know what we did. All of a sudden, we're both there, and you're cooking dinner. I remember at your house. It was almost like I thought you had a future in the cooking show world too, because that was pretty impressive. I think we talked through the whole meal prep.
Well, I could have. Well, when I was in, when was I? I think junior high school, grade 9. One of my first jobs was working in the restaurant business, busboy cleaning tables and then a dishwasher. And then one of the cooks, chefs there liked me and he saw potential in me. Isn't it great when people see potential
It
in you
is.
and they aspire you to do something bigger and better? So he took me under his wing and turned me into a short order cook, which meant that at first of all, I had to do, I don't know how many pounds of potatoes every day that I peeled, and carrots and chopped up, what's that green stuff? Cabbage. So I made coleslaw. That was one of my skills that I learned. And
Okay.
peeling carrots and potatoes and things like that, to eventually where he put me into making some of the other dishes that were beyond just prepping. I actually started cooking. So that skill was something that was transferable into my adult life and forever and ever. So that's really what if you have a coach and they mentor you, that's what can end up happening, is get them to help you elevate your game. So that's what Chef John taught me. That's probably what you saw when we were doing that, whatever it was we were doing.
Elevate the
FaceTime.
game. That's what it's all about, right? You need to, and sometimes we can't get out of our own way or see the forest for the trees. Or
Oh, absolutely. All those cliches
are. Well, so Phil, my man, we've blown through about 31 minutes, and we've mentioned I usually try to keep the lives at about 30 minutes, but you've been grateful and graceful. I think you're graceful enough to come back and do a little recorded version.
Yeah.
After the show, you still up for that?
I'm still up for that, buddy.
Perfect. Well, Phil, thank you for being on live today. I think you brought some great stuff. And we're going to maybe dig a little deeper. And I'm sure our mutual buddy and my director producer, Wes Wyatt, weswyatt.com, as a matter of fact, we'll have a question or two when we get into the recorded version. He has I always get this wrong. I think it's seldom asked questions. I think it's what he talks about is should ask questions. I always get it wrong. I'm sure he may have one or two, but think about it in the next 4 minutes before we get back together off air. What's a question or two that we ran out of time and just didn't talk about that you feel our viewers ought to hear, ought to think about, ought to talk about? Fair enough?
Sounds good. Yep, sounds great.
Phil, appreciate it, my friend. We'll see you very quickly. All right, buddy. There it is, Coach Phil. Great guy. And like I said, yeah, I can't say enough about Phil. He's become an incredibly good friend. We chat often, sometimes not as often as either of us would like because we both get busy, but became great friends in the virtual world, and looking forward to actually meeting up with him sometime in the near future, whenever that works. So thank you, Phil, for being on on Building Wins Live today. And so next week we have an interesting guest, back to the industry, if you will, because as you know, I try to mix in and out of the industry, try to bring some value-added people like Coach. They're not necessarily industry people, but can bring some pretty good perspective that we can all use. But next week, I've got a guy that is from the industry, Juan Roman. Juan is with Aztec Washer. There he is. That's him on the right, in case you wasn't sure. Or that'd be my left, my right. Anyway, Juan is, I've known many years now. He's head of sales for Aztec Washer, which is located out in California. And they obviously make washers for fasteners and those kind of things. But I'm involved with him with a couple manufacturers that I deal with pipe boots, which are used on metal roofs and steep slope roofs. And we're going to chat about the industry. We're going to chat about how they made it through the last couple of years, what they see the future like. And you'll love Juan. Juan's a fun guy, a knowledgeable guy, and be a good time. So next week, 12 noon on Tuesday, a week from today, 12 noon Eastern. And we'll have Juan, and we'll have a good chat and a good time. So share this out. Love to bring in anybody that wants to listen here, and we'll just keep having a good time. We'll keep doing what we're doing. So remember, live it, love it, own it, because you only go around once, and make today your best day ever. Till tomorrow. Cheers, everybody.